Welcome back to Property Palz. Ben, how you doing?
I'm doing really, really good. I'm so excited for another episode of
Property Palz, episode 7?
Episode 7 now.
Ooh,
wow, we're nearly double digits.
I know, and we're in, nearly May.
It's crazy. Time flies when
you're addicted to property. We've been looking through Domain, through realestate.com.au.
We have.
Found some listings, and we're going to bring you the top 5 of the week.
And it is really exciting this week too as well, because in the news, Westpac actually released a report saying that they expect that house values are going to increase by 5% in 2024. So despite all these rate rises, you know, you've done introduction to economics at university, supply, demand.
Meets in the middle will hopefully go up. I think the other thing is, I'm not sure if our last podcast cash rate stayed the same. So it means that it didn't go up. So the loans or your repayments wouldn't have gone up, hopefully, as well, if you're on a variable loan.
Yeah, correct. So it's just kind of plateauing out. There might be some increases to come, but I think probably the positive, at least if you're owning a house or owning an apartment or some sort of property, is that because of the absolute demand, which is coming from new migration, population growth, etc., that's kind of driving up house values. But without further ado, let's just jump into it.
Let's get into it. Number 5.
Number 5. Now, number 5 this week is 51 Hope Street, Brunswick. Now, nice. Marcus, do you have hope for this property?
I do. It looks quite unique from the outside. 3 bed, 2 bath, 2 car. What's it quoting?
That's right. So the quote is between 1.1 to 1.2. And we've been chatting for probably years now about Brunswick. And I think Brunswick overall for a house or value, it's always been a little bit below the surrounding suburbs.
Offers value. It generally still does offer value in my eyes. And I think this one, it's unique, Ben, because it's almost a shop front as well.
It's a really unique look. And there was a couple of things I wanted to to touch on. But
Please.
Just talking about the Brunswick area, so median house price in Brunswick is $1.3 million. When you compare that to, nearby suburbs,
Fitzroy,
Northcote,
Collingwood, Northcote.
Fitzroy, Collingwood, they're a little bit above, but just say Northcote, Carlton North, Fitzroy North. Northcote and Carlton North, they're $1.65 million, and Fitzroy North is $1.55 or $1.54 million.
Yep.
So we'll pop those up on the screen just for your reference. But Brunswick just always seems to be really good value, and there's good amenities. There's lots of, cool bars and cafes to go to.
But
trains.
why is it lower than the other suburbs, Ben?
Well, I can't actually tell you why that is, Marcus.
I can.
Oh,
No,
wow.
I don't know.
What a good
I think it's
look.
because it hasn't gentrified as much as your other closer in suburbs. Personally, I think that.
I don't know if that's true though. So Northcote and Brunswick at the moment, like it's hustling and bustling. There's so many apartment developments, there's a train line, there's lots of cool bars and cafes and schools. And
Sydney Road isn't as hip as your Gertrude Streets, as your Smith Streets.
True,
though.
but we're not talking about Collingwood and Fitzroy. Again, Gertrude Street's second coolest street in the world or something like that. But I just think Brunswick has a lot of value and it's a really attractive place to be. And so to own a house for, $1.1 to $1.2 million, which is 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, 2 cars, that could be a family home.
Oh, definitely. I think it's value, no doubt. So should we look at the pics?
Well, we can look at some of the photos. We'll look through it. You can see straight away the shop front. And why I wanted to talk about this property this week is that I think that's a really tasteful way of incorporating maybe an existing shop look on a heritage property. There isn't a heritage overlay from what I can see. However, they have incorporated this look. Now, this was done quite a while ago from what we could see when I was looking at Google Street View that, this goes back, I think how far ago? 15 years ago it was actually done. So you can see it's really stayed the test of time. The internal photos, when you look at it, they look very tasteful. It's had some sort of touch-up or renovation recently.
Yeah, and it's definitely livable. I love the floorboards. The element that I think I would point out is the screening that it has. So I'm not sure if that's at the front for the bedroom.
That's the front,
Is that the front?
Front
okay.
of the property.
I think it's needed because along the street you don't want people peering into your bedroom. So they've got this screen there.
Definitely, and I think that was the point that I wanted to talk about too, is that often when you have these properties where the window, for the front window, it's close to the street, you feel a little bit exposed.
Definitely,
someone can just tap on the window when they walk past, or particularly for these ones which potentially used to be shops or something, then it's right there on the street. But the way that it's got these timber panels or timber beams that kind of...
Panels, yeah.
Panels that are shade the view out, but you can still get natural light in. I think that's really well done.
Yes, I do too.
Now, it's one of three. You can see the property next door is 51, 53 and 55. They've all had a similar one. This one looks the nicest one, but you can see it's got 2 cars out the back. Now, it's not a full garage.
Is it on a right-of-way, Ben?
A right-of-way, yeah, it's just a laneway at the back.
Yeah, nice.
And then got a little bit of a garden area. The bathrooms look really nicely presented. You've got 3 bedrooms. Now, the best bedroom when you look downstairs is the upstairs
facing south.
So yes, you don't get the sun all day. Also, the living room is facing south, so it's a little bit less desirable compared to a north-facing living room, but it's not the end of the world.
Ensuite, Ben?
Ensuite for good point too. So the one thing that probably might not be as desirable is that normally with the master's bedroom, you'd like an ensuite, right?
Yep.
Now, there's only 2 bathrooms overall. So upstairs, you've got 2 bedrooms and there's 1 shared bathroom. So that might be good for, 2 kids or something. Downstairs, you've got 1 bedroom. Then it's a little bit of a walk to the bathroom. Again, not the end of the world. It's got a fairly decent sized robe.
It's compact living. Do you know how big the actual...
I couldn't tell you what the block is, but maybe we can pop it up on screen if we can find it and let you know. So then you can calculate on a land value how much it is. But again, quantum of dollars, it's below the median house price for Brunswick. It's probably, I'm guessing the block size is about normal. In terms of it's got 3 bedrooms. The interiors look fairly new. Like, it's not too bad. And also, Marcus, that this property back in 2001, it sold for 330K.
That is good due diligence by you.
So what's that? That's 40K every single year up until 2023. So that's, a decent improvement over time. 12% per annum on your initial investment if you bought for 330K.
That's pretty solid, Ben.
So overall, look, I think there's a lot of things to be attracted about. It's Brunswick, it's a great area. And so that's our number 5.
Yeah, good number 5. I think that's a good segue into something we're going to Preston. 5 Preston Street in Preston.
Again, very cool.
Very cool, but Ben, I'm taking you down a notch. I'm taking you to actually a first home buyer quantum. And we're talking between 590 to 640K, 2-bed, 1 bath, no car.
I'm smelling stamp duty savings.
Yes, lots of stamp duty savings. That's what we should talk about on another potty. But Ben, I'm looking at this one. It's 151 square metres. It's asking, as I said, 590 to 640. That comes out to 4,238 per square metre, just quickly. Off the top of my head.
That was fast.
Yep.
On land, okay. So,
is there anything wrong with it?
Now, when I look at the photos, Marcus, it looks pretty good. Maybe it's got some exposed bricks and masonry at the front.
It does, and I'm just going to take you back. It last sold in 1976.
Ooh,
guess how much for?
How much did it sell for?
Have a guess. Entire
50K?
33K, you're actually not too bad, yeah.
Not too bad.
And then coming back to it, this number 11 Preston Street, so a couple door down, literally sold on the 31st of this year, 31st of March this year for 870K. Its block is 30 square metres smaller, and the house is better, but it's interesting, like, still, is it 200, 300K worth? That one is livable, number 11 in Preston.
Oh, there's a word that you just mentioned there.
Livable, yeah.
So what's the issue with this property? I'm looking through the photos. It looks a little bit run down, but is...
To be quite honest, I've looked through the photos and I know for a fact that it's got a bit of rising damp. The photos itself, it looks like you need a new floor. So I don't think it's livable currently. So when you're looking at this, it might be cheap to buy, but you need to say, how much am I going to put into the property to make it livable? 200K? 300K? What's it worth? So... it is a general residential zone too. It's got a development contributions plan. And then the house is actually very narrow. The block is only 6.5 metres.
Wow.
And it's 24 metres long.
Wow. So then the house itself is, you're not going to take up the whole block.
Yeah, oh, exactly. And then if we go to the photos, just go through a tiny bit. So the bedrooms here are back to back, and they've got a few interesting storage situations in the photos, as you can see. The bathroom, you have to go all the way through the living room to the back.
You do. Which isn't unusual, I guess, for some of these older properties, but I guess that's probably one of the things that might put off some people.
Yeah.
But then again, maybe that's why it's a little bit cheaper than something that has a really ideally located bathroom.
You're right, and I think people would be asking, like, why is it quoted so low? The reason why is it needs a lot of work. So,
and I guess then, without going into a lot of depth, for someone that's looking to buy this property, you you might be able to get a loan for what, 80%? But then so it doesn't seem like too much, but then again, you need to put money into actually...
Construction loan you'll probably need, unless you have the equity to be funding this of 200K. And probably the people who are buying at this quantum wouldn't be doing that.
So say I'm just grabbing a number, what is it, $600,000?
Yeah.
Is that what it sells for? So then you need $120,000 for a 20% deposit.
Good maths.
But then you need to also have additional equity to be able to improve it. Now, I'm not sure how much you need to spend on it.
I genuinely think, and this is 200K at least.
Well, let's just say 50, 100, 150. Without a loan, then suddenly you have to have double the amount of equity just to make it livable.
You're right, and construction costs have gone up, so I'm just wary of touching this. I probably wouldn't touch it. I think it's risky.
True. But that might actually put off a lot of people. So there may be one buyer, just because there's not too many people that are willing to stomach it or willing to actually go through that sort of process. So you might be able to pick it up on the cheap.
You're right. That was number 4, Ben.
Very good.
It's an option for first-home buyers, but be careful. Please do due diligence and getting building inspections, those type of things.
That's right, and particularly for these things, like you mentioned, some words, rising, damp, there's other sort of things that you've got to look for. So sometimes, particularly if you're not an expert, it's worth just getting an expert to go through just to tick all those things off. Exactly,
Ben, just quickly, rising damp is essentially dampness that's come through the floor and it goes up the walls and makes it wet. You don't want that, it's bad.
And so I'm not sure how you solve it, how you get rid of it, but you probably need some sort of expert to...
Oh, dude. No.
Disclaimer.
No.
Anyway, number 3, now we're going back to a really cool suburb. One of my favourites, Collingwood. Now, this property is 16 Waterloo Road, Collingwood.
Don't you just love the white fox, how they just do the black and white photos, Ben?
It's crisp,
it grabs
it's simple,
my attention.
And it grabs your attention. Yep. They are very good at marketing. Now, when I look at this property, a couple of things come to mind. Now, I know Collingwood very, very well. This was a project done by SMA Projects. It was back in 2016 when it was finished. Now, there's 338 apartments. I think there's about 20 or 20, how many townhouses? 18 townhouses, a couple of retail spaces. In fact, a new cafe that's just gone into the brewery tower, which is right in the middle of the property. It's just open. It's pretty good. Now, it's quoted, this property, 2-bed, 2-bath, 2-car. It's quoted from $1.23 million to $1.35 million. There's no comparables.
Yep.
Now, it is very unique. Now, this is, so you understand, it is still a strata property. It's not a standalone house.
Yep.
It's part of the complex, and the 2 car parks that you have, they are in the, I'm guessing, the communal or the car park. But the benefit also is that you get to use all the rest of the amenities of the that also the apartments get to benefit from.
And pay OC fees. Can I just do a quick shout out?
Oh, yeah.
Hayball actually was involved in this, the architect. So SMA were they the developer?
They were the developer.
Yeah, so Hayball were involved in this as the architect.
Well, there you go.
I love Hayball.
Now, when you look at all this sort of design and stuff, like, straight away, I love the brick, the masonry. Look at the internals. It's got exposed brick. It's got I think they're the curtains.
Are they the curtains?
They're the curtains.
I thought they were.
It's got exposed, I think, you see the beams above, and whether it's concrete or something on the roof, but it looks very, very cool.
It's almost mixing the old with the new, like the inside. It's so slick inside of the floors, the kitchen, and then you've got this exposed
floorboards,
ceiling. I think it's really lovely, Ben.
And now, so if we go to the floor plans.
I've got it here
so
for
let's
you.
jump to the floor plans here. And now you can see what's good about it. Now, it's 2-bedroom. So upstairs, the main bedroom, 3x3 by 3 metres. Look, it's not absolutely massive, the bedrooms, but it's still, sizable. It's got a walk-in robe. It's got an ensuite with a bath. It's got the other bedroom, 3.1 by 2.7, not huge, but again, probably big enough with a bit of a study nook around it. And it has another bathroom upstairs, and then there's an additional powder room, which for our viewers, a powder room is just one that's got a dunny and maybe a place to wash your hands. Doesn't have a shower.
What's a dunny for our non-Australian viewers?
Oh, that's right. It's just a toilet.
Yep, a toilet.
For our non-Australian viewers.
Can I just say, I think it's quite good. Like, you've got the walk-in robe there, it goes through the ensuite. It's been really well done. The study nook there. Like, the actual... They're compact living, Ben. So, in terms of the windows from the bedroom, while they're actually floor to ceiling nearly, so they're decent.
Exposed brick, 2 walls. But you pointed out one thing, Marcus, is that the nature of this area is that Collingwood is a very densely developed area. Now, this property here does have, it's south facing, so you're not going to have the sun all throughout the day.
Yep.
And also, too, that you just might not be getting too much light into the property, so it could be coldish on the inside.
Yeah, it could be. Having said that, I think it being heritage inside, it's just a feel I would be okay with it being
and
a bit
also
colder.
Too, because of the clearance, on the inside. So clearance for our view is from the floor up to the top of the ceiling.
Yep.
Is quite high.
Slab to slab, yeah.
Because it's in the old, it's in an existing sort of.
Well, it's high because like previous development from years ago tends to be higher clearance, but also on the ground floor usually is.
Yeah, it's just the nature of the existing improvements or the existing property that was there beforehand. And so with that though, hot air rises, so there's more area that is to fill. So, but all in all, when you look on the inside of it, it looks very cool, it's very attractive, it's right in the heart of Collingwood. You do have to walk down a laneway to get to it though, so it's, I think, the only townhouse in that whole property or that whole development of the 338 apartments and 18 townhouses that you have your own individual laneway access.
What about the other townhouses?
The other townhouses, I think they might be accessed, they're also accessed themselves, but from the other street, but they're not in a heritage part of it. I think they're new.
Oh, yeah, I know the ones you're talking about, yeah.
But so all in all, it's unique, it is quite cool. The cobblestone driveway is really attractive, but it could be a bit dark at night time, so for some peoples that might put off certain peoples. But all in all, I think it's a very cool property.
Cool property niche, yeah. Should we go on to number 3, was it,
Bring it on, number 2.
2, sorry. Gosh. 65 Lothian Street, North Melbourne.
Oh, wow.
Now,
what an area.
Well, $910 to $1 million. Not cheap. 3-bed, 1 bath, 1 car on 127 square metres.
But for a 3-bedroom, $1 million in North Melbourne.
In North Melbourne.
It's not a crazy amount of money.
No, it's not. Exactly right. And on a square metre rate, it would be $7,874 per square metre. Again, quick maths.
That is super fast. Not sounding crazy at all either.
No, the last sale date, 1994 for 111K.
Wow. You should have bought it back then,
Oh gosh, yeah, I wasn't born. You were, but anyway, you should have. Location is right near the new Arden Station precinct. So, it'll be great for public transport, but there will be a lot of development over the next 10 years, I'll say. Hospitals, I think, probably different little precincts there and developments, but it'll be awesome in the future with Arden Station so close.
Also to City of Melbourne, I know they're really focused on North Melbourne and West Melbourne area. They're wanting to really create like the next Collingwood, next Fitzroy area, have it gentrified. They don't want in certain areas, they don't want super, super tall structures. They want more European-like feel. And so I think that sort of area could be very attractive to be living in, and it's very easy to get to the CBD and around the rest of Melbourne. Yeah,
and it's got a wider frontage than usual, arched hallways, lofty ceilings, and it's in a mixed-use zone, Ben, with design development overlays and a heritage overlay.
A little bit of development upside then?
Maybe.
A little bit maybe.
Could you develop it higher?
Without going through all the planning kind of scheme, it's in a mixed-use area. There's probably some sort of development overlay. Yes, you could probably add a little bit on the back of it. But you, again, need planning advice. However, it could be something that you do.
Yep, 3 bedrooms, like you said before. The second bedroom, it has that little window internally, so a bit of light. So it doesn't have a great window.
So it's almost like a light well,
It's a light well, I'd say.
But
and then
that can be accepted sometimes. And also those rooms, Marcus, I'm looking at them, 3.5 by 3.9. That's sizable. The back bedroom is 3.3 by 2.6. Not huge, but still it's another bedroom.
Yeah, exactly. And the back bedroom itself, like, you do have... I'm a bit confused. The toilet's small. It's very small there.
Oh, it's compact living, I think.
Compact living. And then they've got the laundry, you go outside. So, hey, at least you got a laundry space. Oh, you don't have the dunny at the end, Ben. I didn't see that.
2 for the price of 1.
It's literally the outhouse. It would be an outhouse of what used to be there.
So you could convert that laundry into a very, very, very slim unit out the back. Or study out the back.
It doesn't even have dimensions on it, it's that skinny.
All right. Anyway, look, overall, I think from what I'm hearing, what is that? It's west facing the rear of the property. You've got windows going in all directions. But overall, it's very compact. It's North Melbourne. It's $900 to $1 million, but it's 3 bedroom. That could be quite attractive, and room for a car.
Yeah, and room for literally just. But good option. Let us know if you're interested. We think it might sell. I don't know what it'll sell at though.
Well, that to me seems like, I'm just thinking in my head, it's an existing property. With these older properties, you do need to do your due diligence, just like that one in Preston. Now, I'm not saying that this one's like that at all. It looks very livable. However, you do need to just be a little bit more careful just because it's been around for a long time. Like some of these could be over 100 years old.
Yeah, and it's got a warehouse next to it actually, like a warehouse kind of conversion, I think. So you just...
If it's conversion, it's probably okay. If it's like an operable warehouse, then you probably want to just double check what it is. So maybe it's, then it's not like some sort of meat manufacturing place, so you got the smell of meat.
I know there are some meat manufacturers in North Melbourne.
Better double check there.
Double check that. All right, Benny boy.
Maybe you love the smell of meat. Easy for barbecues. Now, number one, let's jump into it. Now, we're just moving a little bit to the east.
A little bit.
Just a pebbles throw away.
Stone's throw.
A stone's throw to Carlton. Now, this property is Unit 13, 26 Little Cardigan Street, Carlton.
Yep.
Now, this property, why is this one number one, Marcus? I've got a number of reasons that I cannot wait to get through. But this one here, I'll tell you what, it's boutique. It's unique.
Boutique?
It is 2 bed, 2 bath, 2 car. It's 96 square metres internal area.
96.
It's got a balcony. Now, I'm just going to pop open the floor plans to walk you through it
It's an old school floor plan, this one, by the way.
I love it. I can see it's like written by hand drawn. I love it. Now, it's 2 cars, which is great too as well. A little bit of a storage area for you too. But it's got 2 bedrooms at the front, so you walk down through it. 2 bedrooms. They're both fairly sizable, 3.3 by 3.4, 3.4 by 4.9.
And that's the main one.
That's the main
really
bedroom. It's got an ensuite. The other one's got a bathroom, which is just, a stone's throw away. You just cross the you cross the hallway. It's got a bath in there too. The kitchen, it's got an island or semi-island bench.
Yeah.
And then you've got a decent sized living room of 7 by 4.8.
It's unique in this
Very
setting
unique.
for an apartment to have. It's got light from the back, then it's got light from the front. Like it's gone all the way through, and the shape of the bedrooms, like that first one's a bit. It's not even full rectangle. It curves.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of X factor. But what I really like about this is Carlton is a really, really attractive area to live. And when you look in terms of its location, yeah, you're right, Mark. So we'll put a photo of the property
facade.
on the front.
It looks really.
It was designed by Omeros One Architects, which kind of go by O1A now. Now, I had a look on their website, and like all good architects, it's a very complex website to go through, but I couldn't find anything about this one.
Oh.
However, I do know it was done by them. It's been there for at least 16 years because we went down in Google Street View and it was around there 16 years ago. Still looks very good. It's a stone's throw from Lygon Street.
And you can't.
And we'll see if we can pop it into every single podcast. But what's
four
really good
times
about
in this one
what's really good about Lygon Street is that it's very close to Ying Thai 2, which is one of my favourite Thai restaurants.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, delicious.
Could agree.
It's very close to a new gelato place called Beku Gelato Carlton.
Have you been?
I have actually. It's
have
really
you?
No, we
Yeah.
did. We went together. It was really nice. Yeah, we did.
Oh.
And then close to Carlton Gardens, close to Argyle Square, Melbourne University, RMIT University. So this property to live in for any sort of age group would be really attractive. Also, too, you could lease this out really easily to some sort of student, without a doubt.
Yeah. Question is so it says 7 metres. That's just to the dining table. I mean the island. Is it too long for natural light, Ben? Like it's fairly skinny.
Natural light generally, like anything less than probably 10 metres, 10 metres will be fine. And so with this one too as well. Now it faces though, what is that? So that'll be facing.
Oh, it doesn't even have it on the the plan.
You can probably work it out. It's kind of like a
Orientation.
west faces west slightly.
How do you know?
Just because I'm in my head, I'm just rotating 3D objects and anyway. But it's a really good location. See how it's facing. You can kind of see the city and Swanston Central there. So, and this one's to the east of it.
Oh.
So, the location-wise, 3rd story. So it's fairly high. You can see over the property behind you. Now that property there, you can see just in that photo. It's probably got heritage or some sort of thing to it. And this
Double check that.
Just double check it though. However, to your southwest, there's quite a large property on Queensbury Street. Now that one could be developed in the future.
Right.
However, I had a look at the overlay there and it's got a design and development overlay which restricts it to a discretionary 4-storey height. Now we know that discretionary means it's not set in stone.
Mandatory is set in stone, essentially. Discretionary, like you said, not set in stone.
However, so it could go a little bit higher. However, I don't think it'll be going, 10 stories up or so.
Gonna put the house on it?
But I'm not going to put the house on it, but you're only 3 stories. So even if it goes up to 4 stories, it's still blocking out your view a little bit. It's not going to block out everything. That said, great location, west facing, so living room's going to be a bit hot in the afternoon. It's a good point too as well. If you look at our balcony photo, you can see the condenser or the compressor that's on the balcony. That's very common with residential units. One thing I thought was worth noting, Marcus, is that if you go and inspect a property, particularly older ones, it's always worth looking at the air conditioning compressor or the condenser and seeing how old it is.
Because they're actually expensive to put in. So if it's new, great. If it's old, then you might know that you need to replace it. And
do you know how many years they
I don't, do you?
Like 10 to 15.
10 to 15, okay.
Again, if it's 5, 6, 7 years old is probably going to be okay for a little while longer. If it's 10, 15, 20 years old, then you're going, okay, you might need to replace it.
And some apartments have centralised systems, not necessarily, I think most have it on the balcony, but a condenser on the balcony, it's pretty loud, it's got dusty that comes through it.
Sometimes too, though. So like where
Some
I
have
live, I've got
boxes.
one on the balcony. But yeah, you might want some sound insulation around it, but those sort of things are not going to be too loud.
No.
It's just if you've got, say, lots of them all around you that it might be quite loud.
Yeah. Well, Ben, I think, like, how much was it quoted at?
So it's quoted from $825,000 to $875,000, 96 square metres. Do the maths.
What is it?
9,000 approximately a square metre.
9,000, there we are.
So like for an existing apartment, look, it's not sounding super cheap, but it's not sounding super expensive. It's an existing apartment. It's got a little bit of X factor.
Yeah, so would you, like, I'm just comparing, like, this is $875. Let's say you could buy that Preston one up for about $600.
Oh, but then again, you got to think about if you need to spend $200,000 on it, you're probably looking at the same amount of money.
Yep.
But with that said, this one I can go into tomorrow, or this one I can lease out straight away. The Preston one needs a little bit of work.
But the Preston one's going to get land value appreciation over time.
Correct.
So this would be cool to live in.
I think this one, in terms of simplicity, having a little bit of X factor and preserving value going forward just because it has some uniqueness to it, I think this is quite attractive. Also, this area, you know how easily it would lease to students at the moment.
Oh, definitely 100%, yeah.
So, look, that's why it's our number one for the week. It's got a little bit of X factor. I like it. We'll be excited to see whether it sells or not.
And that is wrapping up podcast number 7. It's been great to have you. Ben, do we know what we're doing next, Potty?
We do. We will be reviewing again our top 5 for the week, and there are a couple on market that we are just itching to get into.
Itching, yeah.
Also to remember as well, we've got a TikTok
We've got
account.
a TikTok account, yeah, follow Property Palz. And we actually will post a few more different properties on there, just some minute-long reviews. Put your comments there. Follow us on YouTube. We've got so many subscribers to date. We're so excited.
I think we can't fit everything into one episode to do our top 5, but we go through a lot more properties on the TikTok account. Like, subscribe. Tell all your friends about it, tell your family, get your mum and dad to like it as well.
Yes,
Leave us a comment
please.
below and tell us which properties you'd like us to review.
Because we will review them. If they're good properties, or even if they're not, we will review them.
Anyway, thanks a lot, guys. See you next time. See you, Property Palz.
Bye.